My mama was a Sunday school teacher. I know a lot about the Bible. I just don't know what nothing is. I can give you 5, 6 scriptures. That's all I know. But I know 5, 6 good ones, though. Them 5, 6 got me here today. I'm going to give you 2 of them right now. You know the biggest scripture that changed my life? You have not because you ask not. I can't even tell you how big that is. This is the coldest thing I'm going to tell you today. You have not because you ask not. Most people don't have the life of their dreams because you ain't never asked God, could you have it? You've been trying to do it yourself. You've been trying to figure it out for yourself, how that's been working out for you. I just told you earlier, you can't figure it out. Ain't no scripture nowhere tell you to figure it out. What you trying to figure your life out for? You ain't got nothing to do with tomorrow. You can't change the past. So what you tripping with your life for? You have not because you ask not. Most people ain't rich today because you ain't never asked God, could you be rich? I ask God every day. At the lowest point of my life, I ask God every day, could I be rich? Because I had it up to here with being poor. I lived in a car, dog. I ain't had no backyard. I ain't had no TV. I ain't had no phone. I ain't got no sink. I ask God every day, could I be rich? So I cut a deal with him. I told God, if you let me make it, when I get there, I'm going to tell everybody it was you. Here I am, and it was him. Now you got another route you want to take, go ahead. See, the thing about having faith is you don't need nobody's permission. You don't have to get accepted into the course. You ain't got to clear it with nobody. He's available. I got rich, and I'm not bragging, but I'm just telling you, I got rich because I asked. She asked me today, she said, is there anything about you that we don't know? I was at the doctor's office the other day. On the medical form, they say, are you allergic to anything? And I didn't check no block. But the nurse always go over everything to make sure. Mr. Harvey, are you allergic to anything? I said, yes. She said, just not checked in the block. I said, because y'all probably ain't got that in here. Are you allergic to anything? I said, yes. She said, you didn't check the block. I said, because y'all ain't probably got that in here. She said, sir, we have every medication known to man in here. I said, oh, I thought you just asked me why I'm allergic to something. I'm not allergic to medicine. She said, what you allergic to? I said, poverty.
When Dr. Norman Vincent Peale spoke, he gave me goose pimples. When Earl Nightingale said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Mr. Sidursky. Yeah. Mr. Sidursky, family that we worked for in Miami Beach, he did not know why I spent so much time shining his shoes, because he listened to The Strangest Secret in the World. As he was playing those tapes called Lead the Field, I was hearing these things, and then when I was shining, he said, well, that's good enough. I said, well, let me dust. Oh, but look here, the books are crooked. And I went in there early and messed them up so I could stay. Because I wanted to be in there while he was taking this time. He was a multimillionaire. My dream and vision was one day I'm going to be a millionaire like Mr. Sidursky. One day, because I was young and ignorant. I didn't know I couldn't do it. I didn't know I couldn't have a mansion. I was like the bumblebee. The bumblebee isn't supposed to fly because the body is too large to be held up by his little puny wings. But the bumblebee doesn't know it. It's intelligently ignorant. So it keeps on flying anyhow.
This lady came to the well beaten down, unworthy, thinking that she would always be looked down on, defeated. But she left that day with a new passion, a new self-image. She saw herself as valuable, redeemed, forgiven. She ran back and told the whole town to come see this man, Jesus. They all flooded out to see him. She didn't just get changed, but she changed her city. Now she was no longer looked down on, she had respect. She was no longer broken, unworthy, she felt valuable. She knew she was a child of the Most High God. What's interesting is Samaria wasn't the shortest route from Judea to Galilee. There was a quicker way, but Jesus said, I must go through Samaria. I can hear the disciples saying, Jesus, that's a long way. It's hot. We're already tired. Let's take the shortcut. Jesus said, no, there's a woman there I need to see. Someone that's made mistakes, someone that's off course, someone that's been rejected, that feels forgotten about. I have to tell her what I'm about to do. This woman came from a culture that worshiped idols. Their gods were made out of stone, no life, no response. Jesus showed up and said, I'm going to give you living water. They were used to dead gods. He said, I'm the Messiah, I'm the living God. You may have some big obstacles. You don't see how you can overcome the sickness, how you can break the addiction, how you can accomplish your dream. But if you only knew who our God is, He's not a weak, lifeless, limited God that used to live, a statue that we can reverence. Our God is alive. He still parts Red Seas. He still brings dead things back to life. He still protects in the fiery furnace. He still makes rivers out of deserts. He still brings walls down. He still defeats giants. He still breaks chains in the midnight hour. He's still a way maker, a promise keeper, a miracle worker. Like this woman, life may have thrown you a curve. You've settled where you are, thinking this is as good as it gets. Just live with the addiction. Just accept those bad breaks limited you. That person that walked away soured your life. God is saying, if you only knew what I'm about to do. I'm about to promote you in the pandemic. I'm about to honor you in front of your enemies. I'm about to heal you despite what the report says. I'm about to free you from what looks permanent. I'm about to bring someone into your life better than you've imagined. If you only knew what God was up to, you'd get your fire back. Those bad breaks didn't stop your purpose. The mistakes you made didn't cancel your destiny. You're about to see God show out in your life. My father went through a great disappointment. He was married at a young age, and unfortunately, the marriage didn't work out. Denominational leaders told him that he would never pastor again, that failure had disqualified him. He eventually left his church and started selling insurance. He was very down on himself, living condemned, thinking that he had seen his best days. But the same God that came to the well for that woman that was broken and lonely came to my father. Daddy thought it was all downhill, that he would never pastor, never be in ministry, never have a family. But God said, if you only knew what I'm going to do, if you only knew you're going to meet Dolores Pilgrim, a young nursing student, and fall in love. If you only knew you're going to have 4 average children and 1 exceptional child. If you only knew you're going to pastor Lakewood and have influence around the world, you wouldn't live defeated, down on yourself because of mistakes, no passion because of those bad breaks. See, we get stuck in the heartache, the disappointment, the guilt, the shame. I should have done better. What was wrong with me? God knows we're human. Quit being so hard on yourself. Your mistakes didn't stop what God has planned for your life. You're not that powerful. If you could stop your destiny, none of us would make it. Abraham made a mistake, had a baby out of wedlock. That didn't stop the promised child. He's called the father of our faith. If he made mistakes and didn't miss his purpose, then you shouldn't beat yourself up because you've made mistakes. Now, I'm not saying about being loose and doing whatever you want, but when your heart is to please God, when down deep you want to do the right thing, but you make mistakes, that is not going to stop your purpose. What will stop you is if you start living condemned, down on yourself, no passion. That's why Jesus showed up and said to this woman, if you only knew what I'm about to do, if you only knew the gift I have for you, if you only knew who you are talking to. He was saying, I'm not just anyone. I'm the God who spoke worlds into existence. I'm the God who flung stars into space. I'm the God that crowned you with favor, that planned out your days for good. Jesus spoke faith into this lady. He could have condemned her. You're getting what you deserve. Too bad. It's just life. No, he said, get ready. I'm about to do something awesome in your life. You may have had your share of setbacks. You can come up with good reasons why you can't be happy, why you can't get married, why your business can't succeed. In your own strength, that may be true, but you're not on your own. The God who breathed life into you is saying, if you only knew the doors I'm about to open, if you only knew the favor I'm about to show you, if you only knew how I'm going to connect the dots, those things you don't understand, that were painful, that weren't fair, I saw them, and they're going to all work for your good. They're leading you to an amazing future, to something better than you've imagined.
You speak your future into the world. You speak your future. Whatever you say, whatever falls off your tongue, when you say I am, right? The unconscious mind says, and you are so. Whatever comes on the other side of that. And so you ask me a hard question, which one is most important? It starts with the thought. I think the thought is that's where everything originates. And then you add a whole lot of turbo boost to it with your tongue.
Most people are not living their dreams because of fear, ladies and gentlemen. I was in Columbus, Ohio yesterday speaking for a particular Ohio department. Young lady named Karen who greeted me, who organized the event. Very talented, very skillful. And she was talking about she wanted to become involved in the consulting business. I said, why aren't you doing it? I said, you have the abilities. I said, you're not here because they like you. You're here because you're doing the job. You're making things happen. And she came up with all kinds of ideas, but finally she said, I guess I can't see myself doing it. I guess I'm afraid. Fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem is what keep most people doing things they don't want to do. I flew from Columbus, Ohio to Denver, Colorado to a major communications company. And the person that picked me up at the airport told me about the fact that the company was planning on having a major downsizing. And they offered some of the employees there an early retirement, and some of them will earn as much as $300,000. And they said, this is the last time that you can take this offer. If you don't do it, when we have the downsizing, you might be among those who will lose their jobs, and all you will get is your severance pay. And only 50% of the people who were eligible to take the $300,000 took it. The others were afraid to take a chance on themselves. The others couldn't see themselves beyond that company. They couldn't see life after that company. The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. Oh no.
Everybody experiences extreme stress at some point in their life. I don't care who we are. Something happens outside our control and it hits our life and it knocks us on our tail. It might be a health stress. It could be something with your family. It could be economic, career. It could be something emotional that happened, biochemical. There's so many things. It could be an environmental situation that had nothing to do with you. Every one of us in our lifetime are experiencing extreme stress. And these days, because of the economy and the way we respond to it, the majority of people are experiencing some form of extreme stress, at least according to polls. Stress doesn't come from the facts. Stress comes from the meaning that we give to things. Yes, those things have happened, but the real question is, if we fight what's happened, we've got a problem. We've got to decide, what are we going to do with what's happened in our life? How are we going to take this? How are we going to mold this? How are we going to turn our life around? Because when you come up with a new meaning, you get a new life. And we're going to take a look at something from a different perspective. We're going to ask you this question. What is the single force that controls the quality of your life? If there was one gift our Creator has given us, or the universe, whatever you believe, what is it? What is the one power that you have right now in this moment that can change everything? You have it, I have it, we all have it. This one singular individual power that can change anything in our life, regardless of what's happened to us. And I know you know the answer. The answer is the power of choice. The one thing we have in this world is we can't control the events, but we can choose what to focus on, we can choose what things mean, and we can choose what to do. Those three choices, those three decisions really control our life. It's not so much the conditions of our life that control our destiny as much as the decisions of our life. Try for a second to think about something. Think about your life. And just think about, are there a few decisions, if I were to ask you 2 decisions you made in your life, you know, that if you would have made a different decision, you would have a totally different life. I mean, it may be, a life may have been better, or it may have been worse, I don't know, but you would have a different life. I'm not asking you to buy into the fact that you should have known the answers. I just want you to see the power of a decision.
Do you want to go to college? I say, yes, ma'am, I'm going to college. She said, Inky, the chances of that happening, slim to none. Like, I'm not trying to crush your dreams, but I can't play with your future. It just doesn't happen. I said, just give me a shot. The first day I get to the school, I see why everybody said what they said. There was a cop at every single door and metal detectors. And I'm still hyped. My man starts searching me. His exact words were, "What's your plan, little man?" I said, "Oh man, I'm going D1, I'm going to college." He says to me, "You'll probably go to cell block D1. He said, "You had two uncles coming to the same place, great little ball players." He said, "Aren't they serving 13 and 40 years at the federal penitentiary, not even 10 minutes away from these front doors?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Exactly. Apple don't fall far from the tree." When I got my scholarship from Tennessee and got back to Crim High School, the first person I went to see was that cop in the lunchroom. He said, "How did you do it?" He said, "The reason I said it to you," he said, "don't get it twisted. You thought I was trying to break you. I wasn't." He said, "I seen so many kids step up to me and say the same thing. And they end up dropping out their freshman year. And so I wanted to challenge you to see, would you retreat or would you step up to me and fight for the thing that you said you wanted?" I'm intrigued in life how when a person say they want something and the only thing it takes is for the circumstance to change. I'm intrigued by that. Right? How a circumstance can take that away. In life, people don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. When it's about something greater than themselves, the opposition, the adversity, and the challenges are part of the journey. That's why it's so easy to spot people that's just out for their personal gain, because all it takes is for something not to go the way that they thought it was going to go, and now they no longer want it. And so when I got to Tennessee, it was Mayberry for me. And I come into my junior year, and I'm about to get exactly what I want. About to get this thing called NFL. This thing that I've been working for. Like everything revolved around this game, and I finally get in a position in my life to where now I'm 10 games away from it. NFL on top of the paper. Inky Johnson projected top 30, automatic multi-millionaire. Just play the next 10 football games, Ink, you made it. And I go out in a silly game against Air Force, and I go to make a tackle, and when I hit him, every breath in my body left. I fall to the ground, I blacked out. When my eyes open, guys run over, "Ink, let's rock, man, let's go, let's finish him off." And I'm like, I can't. They said, "What do you mean you can't?" I said, "I can't move. I said, I can't feel anything." Doctor says to me as he's walking beside me, "I don't know how you're still alive, son. You don't have any pulse." I'm sitting there and people coming into my room like, "Inky, man, I'm sorry about what happened to you." Like, man, that's really the only thing you wanted, huh? Like the only thing you really wanted was the NFL, that's it. I'm like, man, you limited God to that? Like life holds no substance, no value? And now the thing I placed my identity in, now it's gone. That's why I laugh at people when they say, "Man, if I could just get this, I'll be. Man, if I could just get this amount of money, I'll be." I'm like, ooh. What happens when God says yes and no? Like, do you have the ability to accept what you don't understand? Can you handle when things get off course? I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, man, I'm 8 games away. Like, let me get the contract, then redirect me so I can help my family. And God's like, "No, son, I need you to really go that way." And I'm like, "You sure? Like, I need to go this way." He's like, "No, I need you to go this way. I got something greater for you." Now, it might take a little longer to manifest, but I got something even sweeter. I got something, son, that's going to carry you for the rest of your life. And I thought it was over after football got redirected. My life got redirected 2, 3 more times before I even fell into my purpose and my mission. I'm thinking I'm going to be a coach. God's like, "No, you ain't." I'm like, well, maybe I'm supposed to go back to Atlanta and work in my neighborhood at the rec center. I get to Atlanta, I call the guy, he don't answer the phone. The only thing I had at that moment was a prayer and a book. And the prayer that I prayed was, "Lord, I don't know what you want me to do. But people keep coming to me, telling me, speak. Inky, you need to speak." And I'm like, "I'm not speaking." People coming, "Inky, you need to speak." I'm like, "No, man." And God brought me to the point where I had nothing, and I was on my knees. I said, "Lord, listen, I don't know if this is what you want me to do, but I submit, and let's rock." And the next morning I woke up, I had my book I had written, and I got up and I looked at my wife. I said, "I'm going to take this book to Oprah." "Do you know Oprah?" I'm like, "Nope." "You know anybody at Harpo Studio?" I'm like, "Nope." She said, "Go for it." And so I got my book, I got my suit. It's hot. Every door that opened, I ran in it. I'm, "Hey, man, Inky Johnson, drove from Atlanta." They're like, "Get out of here." So after getting kicked out like 4 doors, I go to the back of the building. I sit down, I put my back on the building, look up to the sky, and I'm like, "God, thought it was you." And I get up and I walk around the side of the building. I look down the sidewalk, and at this moment, there was nobody but Oprah and the security guard. She said, "Hey, that's a nice suit." I said, "Thank you." I said, "I drove from Atlanta. I wanted to get you my book. So would you mind taking a picture?" We take a picture, and And I'm going to walk off, and her security says to me, "Hey, young man, come here." He said, "What just happened never happens." So I leave, I start to put the picture on social media, send it to my friends, everybody's reaction. "You gonna be on a book club? You gonna be on a show?" I'm like, what just happened? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I'm like, God, are we moving like that? Don't know nobody on Oprah's staff and look at my wife and say, I'm going to meet Oprah. And God puts me face to face with Oprah and puts the book in her hand. I said, God, let's go. I live my life a certain type of way according to the power that I know the Lord possesses. I live my life a certain type. Like when I go to the Lord in prayer, I go bold. And I know the initial reaction when we go through things is to say, man, why did this have to happen to me? And it's an honest reaction. And some of the things we go through, I'm gonna just be real. It's not a scripture for it. But this is what I've understood. In life, some people don't need you to preach a sermon, they need you to live one.
Yeah, see, ladies and gentlemen, it makes a difference. The only time I really appreciated having money was when my mother became ill. My brother called me and said, Leslie, yes, Mama's been sick and we're going to put her in a nursing home. Wesley, we can't do that. Get Margaret Ann on the phone. She's on the phone. Get Linda and Leonard. They're all here. What, Leslie? Mama used to work in a nursing home. She said she never wanted to go into one. I promised her when I was 10 that I would take care of her. He said, we knew you would feel like that. And this is why we did such a thorough job interviewing the various nursing homes. And we have found the one that's ideal. I said, hold it, just a minute. She took care of us. See, I had a problem. I couldn't understand how one woman, 46, domestic worker on Miami Beach, can raise 7 children who couldn't take care of themselves, but 7 children couldn't take care of one woman. I had a problem with that. So I resigned from the Ohio legislature and I went back to Miami to take care of Mama. And I'll never forget taking her to Jackson Memorial Hospital. The receptionist said, as she looked at my mother, looked at me, she didn't say, how you doing? Are you uncomfortable? Are you in any pain? The lady just said, what kind of insurance do you have? And I stepped forward and I said, she has Les Brown Unlimited. Give my mother what she needs. I can write a check for her.
My best friend, Lonnie Cotton, wrote on the paper at 10, he wanted to be a doctor. This was an impossibility. Lonnie can't even read. When we in the reading group, he started a fight so he can get thrown out to the principal's office. What doctor you know can't read? I knew Lonnie wasn't going to be no doctor when he said that. I knew he was just writing stuff on the paper. What you want to write on your paper is what you're gifted at. What are you gifted at? What is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort? That's your gift. God has been using your imagination to show you your gift.
Something new is coming. It's easy to get stuck in life. When we've gone through disappointments, had a setback, tried in our dream, didn't work out, we can settle where we are and think this is as good as it gets. But God said in Isaiah, I am doing a new thing. Even now it springs forth. Can you not perceive it? God is about to do something new in your life. He didn't create you to get stuck at one level and stay there. He has new opportunities, new relationships, new favor. It may look like you'll always struggle in your finances. So get ready, something new is coming. Promotion, opportunity, doors opening that you never dreamed would open. The medical report says you have to live with that sickness. It's been a long time. God is saying, I'm doing a new thing. I'm restoring health. I'm breathing energy, vitality, freshness into your body. That child has been off course for years. You've accepted that he'll never change. That would be true, but God is doing a new thing. Forces of darkness are being broken. Purpose and destiny are rising up. You're about to see a turnaround. Or maybe that addiction has hindered you your whole life. You tried to stop, gone to counseling, nothing helped. This is a new day. Chains that have held you back are being loosed. What's kept you in captivity is coming to an end. Now you have to do your part and receive the prophecy. You can't go around thinking you're stuck. The problem's too big. It's been this way too long. Turn it around. Lord, I believe what you promised. Thank you that you're doing something new in my life. When Isaiah prophesied this, the Israelites were in captivity in Babylon. They had been there a long time, year after year, nothing changing. I'm sure they thought, we'll always struggle. We'll always be oppressed. Then Isaiah showed up and said, get ready. God is doing a new thing. They could have thought, yeah, right. Have you seen these enemies? Look how powerful they are. All the circumstances say we're stuck. We'll never live an abundant life, never own our own homes. Our children will never be free. Don't talk yourself out of the new thing God wants to do. The odds may be against you, but the Most High God is for you. The Israelites had been through many struggles, had unfair things happen. They had made mistakes, brought the trouble on themselves. They could have been sitting in self-pity, discouraged. But Isaiah said, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. Behold, God is doing a new thing. The principle is, if you're dwelling on the past, you won't see the new thing. If you're focused on who hurt you, what wasn't fair, why did this friend walk away, then you'll miss your destiny. God is saying, forget the former things. Quit dwelling on your mistakes. This is a new day. Living in regrets will keep you from new opportunities. Reliving your mistakes will stop the new favor. As long as you're looking back at the old, you won't see the new. When you drive home today, there's a big windshield in front of you and a very small rear view mirror. The reason it's so small is because what's behind you is not nearly as important as what's in front of you. Where you're going is what matters, not where you've been. Is there something you need to forget so you can see the new thing? Something you need to quit dwelling on so you can step into the favor and abundance that God has for you? When someone hurts you, they do you wrong. If you keep thinking about it, then you're letting them continue to hurt you. Don't give them your power. You have to let it go. Give it to God. He saw what they did. He saw your tears, your heartache. He has beauty for those ashes. But here's the key. You have to let go of the ashes before you can see the beauty. It's an exchange. God says, you give me the ashes. You quit dwelling on the hurts. You forgive them. You move forward with your life, and I'll give you the beauty. I'll do something so great, so rewarding, that you don't even think about what you lost. The new thing God has for you, the new people, the new opportunities, the promotion, healing, influence will be better than you ever dreamed. The Israelites were in captivity. Not only were the Babylonians holding them, but all around them was the desert. Even if they escaped, they couldn't survive. But Isaiah explained what the new thing was. He said, God will make rivers in the desert. What looks like barren ground will be turned into fertile land. God was saying, this new thing that I'm about to do, it's not going to be natural, it's going to be supernatural. That's why you can't figure it out. It's not going to be logical. What God is about to do is going to be unusual, uncommon, out of the ordinary. You're going to see rivers where there should be dry places. The scripture says, even in famine, the righteous will have more than enough. Seems like in famine, you would barely get by. But God does things that defies the odds. Don't limit this new thing to what you think can happen. If I can just learn to live with this sickness, no, God is going to free you from the sickness. If I can just pay my bills, Joel, I'll be happy. God's going to bring you into overflow. If my child will just stay out of trouble, that child is going to do great things. You may not see how. That's okay. It's not up to you. It's up to God. He's the one that makes rivers in the desert. He's the one that parts Red Seas, cures the lepers, multiplies the food to feed thousands. A lady told me how her relative had passed away and left her a small inheritance. She decided to invest it in real estate. She bought another house and was going to rent it out. The first people that came along seemed like fine people. They worked for a nonprofit that helped children. She thought this couple would be perfect. She didn't do all the background checks that she should have, and turned out they were dishonest. 3 months into the lease, they stopped paying rent and didn't tell her. She had it set up to go to the bank. She thought everything was fine. They kept her from getting the notices. Well, several years went by, and eventually the house was foreclosed on. She lost all of her money. She could have been bitter, upset, tried to get revenge, but she said, I didn't make a big deal about it. That takes maturity. It's easy to make a big deal when we're hurt, betrayed. Why did this happen? I'm going to get even. You have to forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. That means don't let the hurts, the bad breaks, the times you were taken advantage of sour the rest of your life, cause you to live with a chip on your shoulder. God knows how to vindicate you. He knows how to pay you back. Year after year, she kept being her best. Nobody even knew she went through the bad break. She didn't go around complaining, discouraged. She had a song of praise. God sees when you're in the desert. He's watching you in the lonely nights, the times you were betrayed. You felt like giving up, but you kept going. You could have held a grudge, but you forgave. You kept moving forward. Was it easy? You were hurting. The pain was real, but you didn't let it stop you. 6 years later, this lady got a check in the mail unexpectedly from the bank for $125,000. They said, we sold the property and this money belongs to you. She didn't even pay that much for it. She made a profit. God knows how to make rivers in the desert. He knows how to pay you back for the wrongs.
Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return from that one action, it'll inspire you to do the next one and the next one and the next one. You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book, it'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal, it'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new. And you've started a whole new life process. Also, one more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline. Self-worth. Self-esteem. People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to disciplines. The least lack of discipline, and it starts to erode our psyche. One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit. The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode the psyche. Instead of doing your best, doing just a little less than your best. Sure enough. You say, well, it's just going to affect my sales. No, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to affect your philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your own philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection, and if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And one neglect leads to another. And the worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value. You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, you don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the smallest discipline that now corresponds to your own philosophy, like I should, and I could, and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me so that I will have the sorry scenario 6 years from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Let's get kids involved in the least of disciplines. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. And the first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life into which you can pour more wisdom and more attitude and more strong feeling, more faith and more courage. Now you've got something, a vessel in which to put it. And now the equities start to flow. And the early return, I'm telling you, if you'll start this process, the early return will have you so excited. You'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life. You'll never go back to the old ways. Join a new crowd. Join a new group. The disciplines to do it. Take action. I recommended the last time I was here the little book, Richest Man in Babylon, and I said I've lectured now to over 3 million people in the last 33 years, and I've recommended this little book to almost all of them, I think. Guess how many have actually gone and got this little book? Answer, very few. My best guess is 10%. Such an easy thing to do. In that last seminar, right, I suggested this little book, number one, is easy to find. Number two, it's easy to buy. The most you can pay for it, $6, $7, $8. You can borrow that from your kids. And number three, it's easy to read. It's in story form. That's why I use it for teenagers, teaching them how to be rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. But if it's easy to find and easy to buy, and if it's easy to read, why wouldn't everybody go get it? We don't know. What do you know? You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. Here's how profound it is. Some do and some don't. Now here's the numbers. About 10% do. 90% don't or won't. We don't know the mystery of that. And I'm telling you, 10 years from now, those numbers will still be the same. 10% will, 90% won't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change. You're looking at one of the faces. I used to belong to the 90% who couldn't be bothered even if it was easy. Guess how many people have a library card? Wisdom of the world available. Transform your life in any value amount you want. By the way, how much is a library card in Texas? Free. Here's what free is. Easy. I mean, it can't be any easier than free. Somebody says, well, would you bring it by? Well, no. At least you got to go get it. No. Wisdom of the world available. Transform your life spiritually, socially, personally, economically, and every other way. Teach you how to be rich and powerful and sophisticated and healthy, influential. How many people have a library card? Answer, 3%. 95, 97% couldn't be bothered.
Let us say together, it's possible. I can live my dreams. I will work on myself. I will retrain my thinking every day. I would read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. I will turn off my television and turn on my life. Let us say together, it's necessary to detoxify your life. Look at the people in your life and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? There are some people you need to let go. Let us say together, let go or be dragged. There are emotional vampires. They will drain you. Bless, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. There's some people that's so negative, they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. You're talking about earning more money. You got to be serious. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. Here's something else. Write this down. You're going to fail your way to success. There are people who should be there to encourage you. They're going to be the #1 members of the discouragement club. When you have a dream, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will have tribulations. And don't complain. Don't go around telling everybody. 80% don't care. 20% glad it's you. Suck it up and make it happen. Everybody, let us say together, leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Believe it or not, Every successful person has jumped. You cannot just exist in this life. You have got to try to live. But to get to that life, you're going to have to jump. See, God, when he created all of us, he gave every last one of us a gift at birth. You just got to quit looking at gifts as running, jumping, sing, and dance. When you're standing on the cliff of life and you see people soaring by, you hear about them doing wonderful things. Maybe you look up the street and your neighbor just gets a car every year, every 2 years. Have you ever thought, maybe this person right here has identified their gift and is living in their gift? But the only way for you to soar is you got to jump. You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. That gift opens up and provides the soar. If you don't ever use it, you're going to just go to work. That ain't living, man. You just existed. But the only way to see what living like, you got to jump. I'm gonna just be real with you. When you first jump, your parachute will not open right away. You're going to hit them rocks.
You're going to make it worth every single moment that you use. Because here, I want you to imagine that you have a bank account, and every day, $86,400 is put into it. And at the end of the day, the account refreshes and all the money is gone. Now tell me, what would you do? You're going to take out every dollar, you're going to spend it while you can. You're going to use it all up, and don't leave anything in there at the end of the day. Well, guess what? We get 86,400 seconds every day. So I want you to do the exact same thing. Use the time. So at the end of the day, you don't feel like you've wasted a second. Spend that money. Stop wasting your life and take this opportunity to improve your life and make some progress. Go get after it.
The story is not over until you win. You write the direction for your life. You are the author. So why are you waiting for someone else to write it for you? Why are you waiting for something to happen, something to change when you haven't written any words? Stop letting other people direct the path you want to be on. Remember who lives your life. You. You and only you. So make the decisions that define your life, the decisions that make you successful. The story is never over until you decide to put down the pen. You can win. You are winning. This power has no value. Keep writing. Don't stop designing, constructing, and upgrading your future, your legacy. This is your superpower. Belief. Because what you set as your goal is the belief to move forward. Stop murdering your legacy and your future. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. Your journey begins now. So are you willing to write? Are you willing to become something? Bring the power, become the power, and succeed.